So you've just picked up your brand new Lumix L10 and you're excited to go out and shoot with it. However, first you want to get it set up perfectly. So when you're out and about, you're ready for photo, video, and maybe have some real-time LUTs imported as well, so you can shoot with real-time LUT and create a specific look directly in camera and shoot JPEGs so that you can then upload it straight away whenever you want to. So I'm going to cover everything in this video about how I set up my Lumix L10, and I'm also going to show you how to import LUTs with the Lumix Lab app as well. So let's just get straight into it. Now I'm going to set it up for photos first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure this little dial here is set to the first one at the top, which is the camera. The second one is video, the third one S&Q. And then this to me is an everyday carry camera. It's perfect for just having on a strap and carrying over your shoulder everywhere you go, for just capturing moments and memories throughout the day, doing a little bit of street photography. That's where this camera is absolutely perfect. So for that, I like to shoot in aperture priority mode. So on the top, I'm going to set the dial to A for aperture priority. And then what you need to remember is this lens has an aperture dial on the lens. So you can change your aperture here. You don't need to worry about any dials to control your aperture. However, if you do prefer to change your aperture with the dials, you can set the lens to A, which then means you can use this dial on the right to control your aperture. So it's just whichever way you prefer to shoot. I personally like using the aperture ring on the lens. So then once we've done that, we're going to go into the main menu by clicking the center button in the dial, and we're going to go down to record file format. And in here, you're going to choose whatever your photos are going to be recorded in, whether you're going to shoot RAW or JPEG or RAW and JPEG. So at the moment, I'm just going to select RAW because I'm setting this up for just RAW photography so that I can go and edit later on. I'm going to come back to real-time LUT and JPEGs a little bit later. And my aspect ratio, you can choose your aspect ratio here as well. But another thing to remember is you can also control your aspect ratio with this little dial here on the lens. So you can easily flick through all of your different aspect ratios without having to go into the menu. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to set my ISO to auto because I want my camera to be controlling my ISO and my shutter speed while I'm in aperture priority mode, so that I can just pretty much point and shoot wherever I want to take photos. So I'm going to select auto, and that is pretty much exactly how I would set up this camera just for going out and shooting a little bit of street photography every single day, knowing that I can then come back and edit. So what I'm going to do is then I'm going to go down to the spanner, and I'm going to go down to the cog and save that to a custom mode. And I've already saved it in there, but I've saved it to custom mode 1 on the top dial just here. So that means that when I change my camera to custom mode 1, you can see that it already recognizes the settings that we have saved. So you can save anything into that custom mode that you want to. I just like to keep it incredibly simple. I don't like to overcomplicate things. And because I'm shooting RAW and going to be editing later on, that gives me all of the flexibility that I could possibly need. So I'm going to do exactly the same for video. I'm going to flick it over into the video mode just on this little dial here. And for this, I'm going to set my top dial to manual mode. We want to have control over absolutely everything when it comes to video. So I'm going to go over into the menu and the first camera icon down to the image format menu, and then record quality. This is where you can choose all of your different codecs, and there are loads of them. And for a camera that is this size is absolutely insane. The video features in this are incredible. They kind of brushed over them a little bit when it was released, but it is incredibly capable when it comes to video. It has the same sensor in it as the Lumix GH7. So yeah, the video is very, very nice. But you have hundreds, not hundreds, but loads of codecs to choose from. I really like to shoot in OpenGate. So I'm going to choose the OpenGate format, which is 5.2K, 25 frames a second, 420, 10-bit. So I'm going to select that. And then I'm going to go to record file format, and I'm going to select MOV just because I want the highest recording quality that I could possibly get. If you want to be able to record some maybe smaller video files and then send them straight to your phone using the Lumix Lab app, you can then choose MP4 Lite. You have a few less codecs to choose from. You can choose from 4K, 100 frames a second, 3.8K, but there's still plenty to choose from, but I'm going to stick with MOV because I know know I'm going to be editing my footage later on. It does make sure that you have a high performance computer, so just click yes. One thing to remember is when you're shooting video, you want to be using a shutter speed of double your frame rate. Now in the L10 we don't have shutter angle, which is a little bit of a disappointment, I guess, because on every other Lumix camera we have shutter angle, so I'm not quite sure why it's not there. Hopefully that will get added in a firmware update later on, but because I'm shooting in 25 frames a second, I want my shutter speed to be double that. So I'm going to change my shutter speed using the dial here to a 50th of a second. Now I'm going to leave my aperture at f2.8, again controlled with the lens dial on the front, so I control that just there if I want to, but I am going to leave it at 2.8 as that just pretty much where I like to start. And then I'm going to go back into the menu and then go to the top image quality menu and go to photo style and choose Vlog. Now Vlog is going to give you the most amount of control over your colors and your dynamic range later on when you come to edit your footage. So I'm just going to choose Vlog. It does mean you will have to color grade it. It's not going to look great straight out of camera, but again, if you want to, you can use real-time LUT with Vlog and apply your own LUT on top of that to be able to record a nice look directly in camera and then transfer it using MP4 Lite to the Lumix Lab app if you want to, but I'm personally not going to be doing that for video, so I'm just going to choose Vlog and then edit it later on. The base ISO for Vlog is also 500, so if you click the little ISO button which is at the top of the D-pad, you can see 500 is the base option. So I'm going to select that. I don't want the exposure to be increasing with the ISO, because as you increase the ISO, you also increase the amount of noise in the image. And with it being a smaller sensor, it is going to be a little bit more sensitive to noise, but I just want to have full control over that. So I'm going to choose 500 and then I can increase it if I need to. Or if it is too bright outside, I can add an ND filter onto the front of it. This has a 43mm filter thread on the front of it. Then I'm going to go into my focus mode, which if you click left on the D-pad will bring up the menu, and I'm going to choose my detecting subject as human, and I'm going to leave it on the full human rather than just the eye and face. And then we have the full area and human detection on, so I'm going to click set on there. You can also choose your different zones if you want to, but for me this covers absolutely everything, and it is very quick to be able to get into the menu if you just need to be able to change it quickly to say an animal and just click set like that. But for this I'm just going to leave it at human. And then white balance, again I don't want this to be changing when I'm shooting video, so I'm just going to maybe choose a daylight white balance temperature, which is around 5600 kelvins, so I'll click set on there. And then that is exactly how I would set up this camera for video. And I'm going to go back into the menu again, click the little spanner down to the cog, save to custom mode. And because we're now in video mode on the little dial here, we have all of these free, whereas in photo mode, I've already used C1 from the preset that I set up before for photos. So let's call it 5K open. I've called it 5J open, but let's go with that. 5K open, save, that's completed. So now when we move into custom mode 1, you can see we have that preset saved here. Okay, so now we've got the camera set up basically for both photo and video. One thing very quickly that I forgot to mention about photo modes is your autofocus preset modes, where you go in and choose them here. You can have set up exactly the same for photo as you do for video. I just keep mine in full area human detection mode, and that is also saved to my custom preset as well. I just forgot to mention it before. And my white balance in photo mode is also in auto white balance and not locked off. Now I'm going to go back into photo mode, and there's a couple of things that I want to change in the menu that make shooting with this camera a little bit easier. And the first one of those is to do with the viewfinder. Now I absolutely love that this camera has a viewfinder. I use it all of the time, but when I use a viewfinder, I use my left eye. I'm left eye dominant, which means that with where the screen is placed, I'm always knocking the focus point with my nose and touching the screen with my nose. There is, however, a way around it so that that isn't the case. So if you go into the menu, down to the cog, and then the operation menu and down to touch settings. And what this does is it gives you full control over the settings of the touch screen. So you can turn it on and off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to touchpad AF. So when you are using the viewfinder, what you can do in here is you can choose all of these different offset modes and choose from a portion of the screen to use as the focus point instead of using the whole screen. So what I like to do, for example, is choose the bottom right corner, which is offset 4, and then that means that only this portion of the screen is going to be used for the touch screen when I'm using the viewfinder, and that means that I'm going to be knocking the focus point with my nose much less. So that is a really handy feature to have when you are using the viewfinder. It doesn't affect it when you are using the screen just like this, but it will only use that bottom portion of the screen to move your focus point around when you're using the viewfinder. Another thing is I'm going to go back into the menu again, and I'm going to go down to the cog and then the lens menu, and I'm going to turn lens focus resume on. And what this does is, let's say that you've just been using the camera, it was at 40mm because that's the focal length you were using, and then you quickly turn off the camera, and then when you come back to turn the camera on again, it will then remember where the lens was turned off at and go back to that focal length. So if you turn it off at 40mm, it will come back on at 40mm. So I just find that a really nice feature to have, because I don't shoot wide at 24mm that often, which is where this lens naturally turns on it. So I do find myself zooming in quite a lot, and then I want my lens to just come back out to that focal length as much as I can, just to speed up the whole workflow. But then what you can also do is go down to the operation menu again, and this time I'm going to go down to function switch setting, and this is going to control this little dial here, which at the moment controls the aspect ratio that we are shooting in, if you change it just like that. So what you can also do is you can customize that dial to any one of these, so step zoom, your photo styles, your real-time LUT, your aspect ratio, and also your detecting subjects for your autofocus modes. What I like to do is choose step zoom, and then you can control with that little dial the different focal lengths. So if, for example, you set it to 35, 50 and say 70mm, that then gives you pretty much 3 prime lenses, or not exactly the same as using 3 prime lenses, but essentially having 3 lenses at different focal lengths in one camera, so you can then easily just flick the dial like that and it will change to that specific focal length instantly, and you don't need to worry about using the little zoom rocker, and it is much quicker to go between your focal lengths like that than it is using the little zoom rocker here, which is actually disabled when you use this mode for some reason. But step zoom does make it a lot easier to just flick between different focal lengths very quickly while you are out and about shooting, and that pretty much covers you for most things if you choose 35, 50 and 70mm. Strange how it does disable the zoom rocker though. I'll have to look into that. And when I've changed all of that in camera, I've got everything set up exactly the way that I want it, just to be able to go and shoot whatever I want with this brilliant little camera. There is just one other thing that I want to go through, and that is using the Lumix Lab, so that you can import your own LUTs and then create a specific look in camera. And to do that, I have the Lumix Lab here. I've already connected it to my camera. I'm screen recording, so you can see it's connected to my L10. You can see my gallery. You can then transfer LUTs, transfer images. You can download LUTs from other creators as well, and flick through all of the ones that there are available, just like that, and download any that you want to, and you can control the LUTs that you have downloaded and have imported to your camera. So I have already downloaded a couple from Ross. If you don't know who Ross is, go and have a look at Ross and his JPEGs. He has a brilliant YouTube channel. He's an absolute genius at creating different looks and dialing looks in camera to create specific film looks. He's brilliant at it. I've already downloaded a couple here, and I've imported them onto my camera already. So I have the Earth and Ontario ones. And what you can then do is you can press the LUT button and you can scroll through and they will appear here. Now, if you go into the menu and you go to the very first photo style menu and you go across to my photo styles, you can choose from these here. You can then plug all of these different settings in that Ross will give you on his website. Say you want to create the Portrait 800 look, and you can import the LUT here. You select LUT, you choose Earth or Ontario. You can stack LUTs as well. Change the opacity on both of them. You can then customize all of these let's maybe go to vivid. I'm just messing around with these. Ross has dialed in all of these on his website and gives you the exact list. You can control your contrast, saturation, highlights, hues, the grain, you can turn grain on, things like that. And then what you can do is you click set. Let's say you want to choose RAW and JPEG. So you get the JPEG with the look burnt directly into the image, so you can just download it to your Lumix Lab app directly and upload it to Instagram. And you get a RAW file which you have full access to be able to control as usual when you go to edit later on. And then what you can do when you've got all of that set up, you can go down to the settings, the cog icon, down to save custom mode, and then I have already saved one here which was Ross's Portrait 800 look, and I've been using that inside custom mode 4. And when I go to custom mode 4 on my camera here, I have Portrait 800 directly built in there, so I can just go and shoot with that specific look directly in camera, RAW and JPEGs. Just go and have fun. It is incredibly versatile, and I've only really touched the surface as to how you can set this up. You're going to change things that I potentially wouldn't change and have things that work for you within your specific workflow. This is just the way that works for me, and it just means that you can get out and go shooting as quickly as possible and just have fun with it, because that's what this camera is all about. It's just about having fun. It's not a camera that shouts specs, even though there are some incredible specs in it. It has the same sensor as the GH7, like I mentioned earlier. In a camera this size, that is absolutely mental to have the capabilities that this has got. But it's just about having fun, and that's what photography is all about at the end of the day. It's meant to be good fun. So yeah, I think this camera is absolutely perfect for that. There are a couple of things that I would change about it, having used it for the last couple of weeks, but I'll save all of those for another video, which will be a bit of a more in-depth look at this camera. So yeah, if you have just picked up your brand new Lumix L10, have fun, just enjoy shooting with it, go and create something that you potentially wouldn't have otherwise created. I've really got into using real-time LUT over the last couple of weeks, which is something that I haven't been able to say that much since it came out a couple of years ago. I've not been a huge fan of it, but having used it with this camera, it has grown on me a hell of a lot, and I've been using it to post stuff to my Instagram stories all of the time. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you have got one, go and have fun with it.